We're really something, aren't we? The only animals in the world that shove things up their ass for survival.
I'm not getting an audio reading. I want to make sure that... Hello, everyone. Hopefully this is check. Okay, it looks like it's reading. Yeah, I was going through this before hitting record, and boom, not seeing an... Well, hello there. This is the Hawkeye Rising YouTube channel. Welcome. I'm Clint, your host, your Hawkeye. Okay, this is... What did I title this? The health part one... No, health part... health part one preface. I had recorded about well over a month ago. I think I even said it's approximately February 10th. And I had recorded and spoke about some of the health, some sensitive subject matter. And upon reviewing the file, there was no audio. And before canceling or before deleting this file recently, I discovered that that there was audio. And okay, so then and decided to, okay, it's I would upload it and then present it. But I wanted to also record then a preface to that video, because I think there's a lot of information, a lot of personal anecdotes, thoughts, and so on that were shared. I did cover a portion of my blog, Hawkeye134.blogspot.com, and while pulling you into this strange and crazy world, because truth is stranger than fiction. Let's see. So this sharing... Oh, let's see if... Let's see. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your subscriptions. Got a few new subscribers since last broadcast. Okay, I'm just checking out my YouTube channel. It is... I'm just seeing what's being presented before I start roll into this, because now this is where it gets... Okay, I don't know what's... Do not throw my computer out the window. Do not throw my computer out the window. Okay, come on. That's okay, good, fantastic. So I guess if I'm sharing this screen, okay, sometimes your Hawkeye can be a dumbass a lot of the time. Okay, let's welcome. Thank you. Let's see. Anything I need to address? There was the iodine email, which I had brought up during a recent Saruji team brief a couple of weeks ago. I maybe we can get into that. Well, okay, let's tackle this first. Anyway, so this uncomfortable subject matter, yes, but nonetheless, this is important subject matter because of well, whether I just happen to be, let's see, what flashed away whitey mouse. Who's your Hawkeye? This is in part My background is I'm the lab rat. I've been the experiment for, I was going to say 20 years, but just under 20 years. I got a few things to say. But first, let's buttress this with Pfizer, and of course, let's just go to the Wikipedia page. Pfizer in America is an American multinational pharmaceutical and biotech corporation headquartered at, there's the address. The company was established in 1849. 1849. Oh, and the Jesuit general's name is on the tip of my tongue, because I had looked up who was the Jesuit general during the 1844, the Millerite, the William Miller, the Great Disappointment dates. And no, not, anyway. So, context. Who was the Jesuit general during 1849? In New York by two German entrepreneurs, Charles Pfizer and Charles F. Ehrhardt. I have not been able to find, so Charles F. I was hoping to find the Francis name. I think it's actually, it's not Francis, it's something else, and I can't. I had looked at this, and I don't have a citation at the moment. But anyway, I do know, I can say it's not Francis. All right, Pfizer. Pfizer develops and produces the medicines and vaccines for immunology, oncology, cardiology, endocrinology, and neurology. The company's largest products by sales are look at that. Wow, $37 billion in 2022 revenues for something that, well, back to the old the experiment that how many people willingly rolled up their sleeves for, and how many people perished, either permanently or have some severe side effects. However, you're a Hawkeye. My interest in this is the early history. Pfizer was founded in 1849 by Charles Pfizer, Charles, not Francis, Ehrhardt, two cousins who had immigrated to the United States from Ludwigsburg, Germany, the year before. The business produced chemical compounds and was headquartered on Bartlett Street in Williamsburg, New York, where they produced an anti-parasitic called Santonin. This is important to me, as you'll see in my health part 1, so which this is the preface for. So Santonin, why do you think there was okay, the fact that in the mainstream narrative and in the peripheral I don't know what's going to, the thing is saying certain things, whether it's going to cause, I've gotten some checks on my channel over the recently above copy. Okay. But it, so there's the Ivor word. What is it? And then there's the hydroxy word. And it's not that those two substances didn't have an authentic impact on those suffering with something. People experience something. It's we can agree about the false narrative and the premise behind what's happened in the last over 3 years, but that doesn't mean that it's not just a pure psychological operation. There is something being experienced, and I think in part in combination with our EMF, EMR, the grid that we are immersed in, and this I believe is in part why. So let's look at Santonin, an effective drug for treating intestinal roundworms, was first isolated from unexpanded flower heads of Artemisia, interesting word, Artemisia, plants grown in Russian and Chinese Turkestan and the southern Ural region. The structure of this compound was established by Klimo. Okay, so we get into some names. Sentinin exists in two forms. Okay. Just skipping down. Another effective human ascaricide. So ascaricide being referring to Ascaris lumbricoides or Ascaris roundworms. Okay. Let's just address that first as well, or that subject that also needs to be addressed. Are humans parasitized? Along with our animal counterparts? And my emphatic answer is yes. As I get into in the video, which this is a preface for, I get into my personal experience and some of the experiences around me. The fact that almost the exact same time that this narrative started, after event 201, October 18, 2019, your Hawkeye began a deparatization process as a result of some experiences in 2018, which I do discuss in the video that will come after this, and an experience which I relayed to the captain, and got a fantastic response, and makes cake, because of course I've had a number of health issues following a catastrophic non-fatal workplace accident, and which led to testing, a number of surgeries, some joint replacement parts, and further testing, and which of course led to responses to all that. So health issues, chronic pain, so on and so forth. And then, of course, how does one take matters into their own hands? How does one become personally responsible for their own health? Well, it's inevitable where one is going to, at a certain point in a certain desperation, resort to some, do you call them extreme measures? But definitely measures off the beaten path. And then, of course, so my own personal experience, and then being where I am, having in my immediate, so there's family, friends, and so on, the social circles that I have, and even those that I've worked with, having chronic issues. So it's like health is something that touches everybody. And then, of course, I think we can all say that even something as ubiquitous as cancer it's no family is untouched by one particular disease, whatever it is. And anyway, so which this led me to also make myself, as I refuse to stop being a science experiment for others. Then it's like I became a science experiment for myself, and on behalf of close family members, one that's like my father, who's no longer with us, and wouldn't hear anything that I had to say or share, and unfortunately, and now is gone. I believe gone to be with. He's gone to sleep, and I believe I will see him again. Okay, so Sentinin, antiparasitic. Let's see. This is a video that I'd come across some time ago. Okay, got to put on our adult. I'm borrowing a term from a motorcycle crash analysis video. Pupu en our pantalones. Put on our adult pants without pooping in them, even though this has a lot to do with poop. And what is actually inside a human being? What's inside the human intestinal tract? And I can tell you, there's something to this. You know, look at me. I'm a relatively normal guy. What am I? I'm in mid-40s, 44. I had to think about that. West Coast Canadian. I traveled, let's see, I've been to Mexico twice, mission trips actually, but that's 20 years ago. I've been to Europe once in the 90s. Multiple in my youth, I hiked a lot, drank from rivers and streams with unfiltered water, unboiled water. Having exposure, well, house, family pets, family dogs. Yeah, so it's hey, just like most of you, just immersed in the world, eating normal, the same foods that we all eat. I think actually, the health issues led me to about just over a decade ago. So pulling away from being meat eating, but coming back to it, but refusing now, of course, eliminating all pork products for various reasons, and then having to choose wisely with certain kinds of meats, like going like whether grass fed, grass finished. Trying to find definitely a more humane way of eating, because again, okay, the food issue is definitely an issue. However, we do need to eat, and I know that there are some that can testify that a plant-based diet that they thrive on. I've also known and experienced, okay, wholly plant-based is not, I certainly did not thrive on it, and have definitely added meat back into my own diet, and actually found that going even extreme, eating eggs as well. So from as best as I can find, so free range eggs, even eating a large amount of eggs per day, finding that my sleep did improve. Okay, so back to this. Ascaris lumbricoides. This video, I'm not sure. So the country of origin, it's unfortunately, most of the time, you'll have to find stuff from let's see. Well, thank you for being here. This is definitely an interesting allow. Scarce lumbricoides. See if I'm okay. Good. Back on. Scarce lumbricoides. So, speaking of which, there was a time where I couldn't watch certain surgery videos until I actually had certain surgeries, and going back to the videos where I couldn't even last 10 seconds on, I could watch and eat and enjoy what I was seeing, because I was curious what had been done to me. And then we come down to this. So I've spent, let's see, it started in 2018, but not consistently. It started, and then of course there's the shock of what came out, and which I documented in my blog, hockey134.blogspot.com, which I begin to cover in the video that follows this. Look at what the potential of what's inside a human being, the human intestinal tract. I believe this is the small intestine, and then this is Ascaris lumbricoides. They're fascinating that they are white, or of course, with the lighting, there's yellow tinge. But listen to what's being said here.
Have you ever seen something of this nature?
Never seen anything.
Never, even in books, not even there in books.
They don't show this in books.
They don't.
Welcome to Narok.
My goodness me.
You do not. This is not even shown in textbooks. And I can tell you, for 2 years, consistently for 2 years, after taking a certain product, I passed dead, not white but dark, worms, which I would confidently call the Ascaris lumbricoides. So this certainly changes our relationship. But hey, the thing is, if your health is gone so sideways, and if you're hanging by a thread, I believe and I hope that you can get something from this. And of course, in the video that follows this, I discuss a lot of other experiences, a lot of okay, I can acknowledge this is a lot to take in. It's even preparing this, my own skin and scalp starts to crawl. Nonetheless, and of course, this is unfortunate, but here we go. Look at this.
Once again,
Press
we
it,
don't
pulls
want to break
from a
them
man's
off in
nose.
case this is a tapeworm, because the segmented worm can still live, and that's good. Okay. Pull out a little bit more. He's a long sucker.
Jeez.
Did you want to name him? Now this is a biohazard, so you can't keep this. Ooh.
I know for myself, having especially my
Okay.
right
This is broken off.
my right nostril, my right
There's
nasal
still more
passage,
in there?
I don't think so.
No, that's all of them?
and knowing again my history, which I discuss, having mold exposure, having and something I haven't actually had. I've gotten it under control, but I would have chronic nosebleeds specifically from my right nostril. So there's that. But the puppy, this is what caught my attention. And of course, so the thing is, it's not to be, we are called to be stewards of our animals. How do we care for animals? Do we pawn them off to so-called, again, authorities in white coats and stethoscopes as well? When I saw this, so more or less, this is similar to your Hawkeye for 2 years, and inconsistently for the literally up till the last year. Yep. No. So my blog again. So it's not about. Do you want to get into this first? Or okay, I don't want to get into this because it's already explained. I get into this in the blog. I lay out why I believe it's like this. I lay out why. Well, it gave me confidence when the narrative 3 years ago at the beginning of 2020, or as we got into March 2020 specifically, and during lockdown, and then of course with the masking and with the sheltering in place, the Jesuit tabernacling in place, and having our own Ignatian experiences and participating in spiritual exercise, Ignatian spiritual exercises, knowing that okay, the narrative's false because I've had these profound experiences on passing things out of my body, and the amount. What I can tell you about this, I had a close friend, which I do discuss in the video following this, who was highly, highly skeptical, and she once a month, what do we call them? Medication, goes and gets medication injected once a month. And after being skeptical about some information that I had presented, she got very sick and coughed out one of these. So, and photographed it, showed me, had her own mind-blowing experience. I'll have to say though too, this person also has at times, which I share a little bit, because of course this is talking about other people. Yeah, it takes it out of the person. Well, it's still personal, but when And then, of course, the subject matter. But this person ended up having to have an invasive surgery as a result of having I think it was a tear in the large intestine, which led to a tear or a fissure. So a fissure in the large intestine, a fissure in her vaginal wall, and which led to eliminating through her vajayjay. Now, if that sounds shocking to you, I absolutely agree. But it has to bring a person to the place. Okay, what the fuck is going on? And which is why trying to have this adult conversation, and rather than just this isn't possible, going no, it's possible, and laying out why, and laying out, okay, what are people experiencing, and presenting this is what I believe what's going on. And the fact that all this activity is actually taking place so high up in the small intestinal tract for the most part, that it also affects the ampulla of Vater, so the common bile duct, which is both the pancreas and the gallbladder / liver share. And of course, I get into in the video that follows this. Okay, is this actually symptoms of being parasitized, or is there something symbiotic going on? So what's the purpose? Is there something beneficial with having these things in us, whether it's a result of pleomorphism or a result of what interacting in our environment, food, air, water, pets, other people? Again, it's not to scare the shit out of you, but it's to, okay, there's something going on here. As your Hawkeye, again, as I will say this, if I'm a watchman, it is my responsibility to pass this on, especially if you're hanging on a thread, if you're in your health, then there is hope. One experience that I get into, a significant experience for me, which is why I emailed the CAP about this back in 2018. As a result of, I combined 3 different products, so turpentine, mimosa pudica seed, and it was a black walnut husk in capsule form, and I think it was a combination. There was a couple more items in the capsule, but also a black walnut and wormwood tincture. And taking the combination of that one particular night, having the experience of this hand, my left hand, which I share. I've had issues with my hands and wrists since a particular accident and other parts of my body, but my left side, so my hand and wrist and my left leg, foot, shin, everything went into this incredible flexing during sleep, woke me up. And then immediately after that, going back to sleep after opening up my hand, calming down my foot and my other muscles, waking up to the inevitable knowing I needed to go to the bathroom and passing something that I did, pulling out, amongst other things, one item in particular, which I photographed and shared on my blog, and then I share in the next video. This is very real. And then why I bring that up is because I believe, in part, the first, remember, I'm not a doc. Take it for what it's worth. If you have a tremor, okay, it's like, how do I even lay the foundation to this? I believe, in part, yes, because of the intricate wiring of our fascinating body inside, and all the nerves and such around our small intestine. Whether there are nerve centers, I believe something, it's like for me specifically, wherever something had attached was biting into, when it let go, the experience that I had with my left side, specifically because I had parents, a father who had a left side tremor, which spread across his chest, up into his throat and jaw, and then into his right arm. And then a mother who has no use of her her left leg at this time, and has been so for almost 30 years. So and remember, I'm not saying that it's all to do with this, but there's something to this. I don't know how to emphasize that enough. Whether I sound like an asshole or that I don't know what I'm talking about, or Hawkeye, you're full of shish. Hey, I mean, hit Dragon Crush underneath the semi-truck low bed trailer over 20 years ago. Changed my life. Changed the trajectory of my life. And I can't run from this. There's a lot of things I can't run from. And obviously having to face this directly. So let's see. Let's go to my blog. So health part 1. And I'll end with this. So the first premise for this post stems from my personal health journey, an article from 2007 about sharks, heavy metal toxicity, and the parasites that enable them to survive, that enabled the sharks to survive. So with our I do not think we truly appreciate literally how toxic we are. And we don't really even appreciate the role of our liver. It was fascinating to hear in 2020 during lockdowns how alcohol, I think it was alcohol and ice cream consumption went the exponential, and then of course in contrast to that the amount of toilet paper that was essentially the toilet paper wars, the amount of toilet paper that was bought to the point of empty shelves, and the panic that ensued. Okay, so parasitic worms inside the guts of sharks are absorbing high concentrations of heavy metals. Okay, you can read this. I will put a link in the description, but I also get into this into the next video. I'll publish this one first. Keep in mind that this is recorded later, over a month after the video that will be uploaded second or published second. At the same time, while I'm looking at it as a prompt, the third premise for this post is in this part series is surveillance, the literal examination of our excrement by the National Wastewater Surveillance System, which is why recently I did upload 2 videos which discussed COVID-19 and wastewater surveillance. And the premise behind that, of course, being partially true. There's something going on. There's something in us that we're obviously passing that's being surveilled, and I'm presenting in part what I think in part is going on. We have things in us that eat and also excrete, and as a result, we experience the side effects of having these critters in us. I will also present that these big critters in us are also react to EMF, EMR radiation. Whether or not if we're okay, at a certain point, this does get the topic does become a little grand. So it's like, okay, how much to discuss at this point? So start with this. There is a possibility for health. There's a possibility for getting better. There's a possibility to walk again, to run again. And hopefully there is hope and inspiration in this message, even though it does deal with some, no pun intended, some shitty topics. But again, we're adults. Pfizer know what they're doing. And in part, here's the premise to call it a theory, call it a hypothesis, but this is how I believe the Jesuits ferried disease and ushered in disease into all the people groups that they infiltrated, literally through their intestines, what they consumed. Okay, speaking of which, let's Jesuit Francois, I think it's Francois Xavier. This got my, excuse me, sorry about that. Okay, can I spell today? Dentrical. Jesuit priest Francois Xavier Dentrical, 1664 to 1741. Nandakol entered the Society of Jesus in 1682. I can't think of the Jesuits. Got to committing that list to memory. Working on it. Where is it? Here we go. Nandakol also wrote letters about how the Chinese raise silkworms, manufacture artificial flowers, and practiced oral vaccination against smallpox. So what is smallpox? Is it a result of something in us that is either eating, excreting, whether through its body or actually it's through its elimination, and it's how our body responds to its excrement? Yeah. Okay. Of course. Get the crawlies. Just again, getting used to this subject matter, talking about it, being amongst it. But at the same time, I've also been studying this for quite some time now. And let's see, 2018 to now. So here, as your Whitey, the lab rat, your pasty white lab rat with a bit of a red beard, now turning gray, graying hair, losing hair. So back to, I believe that's how the Jesuits literally, through their fecal matter, spread disease through poisoning. Well, you know the deal. They, like E. coli, I'm sure that's something that's come up that you might be familiar with, but just contaminating water sources and also contaminating food. But imagine also administering the sacraments. Imagine a Jesuit with excrement on his hands, a soiled hand, administering the so-called sacraments, and how an ignorant, a person that has been either been taught and sold the idea that what they're ingesting is becomes the actual flesh of the heart of Jesus of Nazareth, and what they've taken in is actually what has ended up killing them or made them very sick, or which led to a series of whatever ailments, diseases, and so on. So, of course, the smallpox, spreading the smallpox blankets under possibly Jesuit Jeffrey Amherst, British General Jeffrey Amherst. There's something to that narrative. So here's your Hawkeye's take. I will pause this. Okay, where's my StreamYard? As crazy as it sounds. Here we go. Okay, any questions? You know the deal. I'll respond as best I can and add to this when I can as well. Okay. Yes, we live in a very crazy world, but be blessed because I love agree with the captain and with the team. Resistance is rising, and also, well, back to the knowing is half the battle. And I had an art teacher who also would say, "And self-control is the other." So as we figure this out, remember this. There's something to this. Just may you be encouraged. And again, part of the goal is to take the mystery out of what's going on. Sharing the truth, exposing the lie, because that's what it comes down to. And I think most of us would agree. I hate being lied to. Okay, this is your Hawkeye for now.